Perception management.
We work
Let's
with
talk
our
about
clients.
part 3.
We go
Round
through
one
a
up.
very
This is
systematic, thoughtful process
what
in
this
order
video.
to be able to help our clients identify what the resources are that they have, what the barriers to their success are, and how we can use communications to help them accomplish their objectives.
Hear that line of bullshit? He wants to know everything about you so he can help you design or establish the line of credit.
Michael or Angelica came to me and said, Dad, what do you do and why is it important?
Philip Morris.
My
National
answer to
Smokers
that
Alliance to
question
fight
is
anti-smoking
basically that I help
laws.
corporations have a voice.
The results that build business. Past night, Canadian Forestry Corporation created the British Columbia Forest Alliance to combat environmental campaigns. Lobbyists right now to combat every fucking law we got against them.
They're selling themselves. They're selling their domination. They're selling their rule, and they're creating an image for themselves as just regular folks down the block.
Hi, how you all doing today? Good to see you. How are you doing today? Hi, how you doing today? We're from Pfizer. We're your neighbors. You're in the new houses?
Fucking
Are you in the new houses? Oh, these are some neighbors.
Neighbors
Can we say hello? Can we say hello just for a minute? So, what do you think of the neighborhood now?
It's all right. It's good.
Yeah, I think it's been getting better over the last 20 years that I've been coming here. Yeah.
Subsidized.
So I think together, working with you and Pfizer and our other partnership will make this a better place. Okay. Nice to see you, Miss Frazier.
He's just
Bye.
trying to sell himself as a fucking saint. Them black people see right through it. They're from the streets.
One night as I was going home, I got caught and was almost mugged.
Yeah, because you look like a little bitch.
And so we
Should've got
decided
mugged.
to make a change to make this community better.
What was that? You put the gates in?
We're looking at turnstiles that prevent fare beating. It used to be that you could just
fare beating.
hop right over. So Pfizer, in collaboration with the Transit Authority, actually purchased these machines.
Which you probably use taxpayers' dollars to build the subway.
It allows us to speak to the Pfizer guard, which is approximately 500 yards from here. Now, I haven't seen the Pfizer guard today, but I'm going to see if I can call him. If he's not, I'll have to go wake him up. Hello, Tom Klein speaking.
They got money for this shit and they don't even work, and they're not taking it serious.
So I'm sure
but they got paid for it. They're probably still getting paid for it. It's probably getting leased to us.
Particularly on the off hours, this allows a passenger to call directly to the Pfizer desk for assistance. And then the Pfizer guard calls the transit police, and the transit police respond to any crime situation. As a result of all this, crime is down in this station. It's much safer for our community part.
Damn, that sounds like a bunch of bullshit your politicians be feeding you nowadays, doesn't it? Man, he sounded just like one of the politicians. Man, bullshit right there.
The other button, just to be sure. Tom speaking. Hello.
He needs to make sure he knows the owners there.
Over and see him personally.
The CEO or some shit. Yeah, he's doing his fucking job, ain't he? That guard, Pfizer guard, Pfizer.
They're putting, some taxpayer.
I don't even live in there over there. I've never been on a subway. I won't ever go on a subway. I don't need to.
Should be going to the taxpayers
but I care.
To decide what to do.
Exactly.
And
fucking
while they're doing those sort of nice things, they're also playing a role in lowering taxes for corporations and lowering taxes for wealthy people. And reconfiguring public policy.
So when you're down here with me,
and
you're fucking sticking up for him,
you don't see them backing out the money, backing out the insides of public
poor and
processes.
stupid.
But we do see the nice facade.
I don't see nothing nice about it. I don't get nothing back from it. They just keep taking more and more from us. I don't remember. And I don't remember specifically, but every year there's a bailout for something, for some big company, but they never give back to the little guys.
When I was researching the takeover of public space, when I started off, I thought, okay, this is just advertising. We've always had advertising.
Wow,
it's just more advertising.
On the highway.
But what I started to understand, and what I understand now, is that branding is not advertising, it's production. And very successful corporations, the corporations of the future, do not produce products. They produce brand meaning. dissemination of the idea of themselves is their act of production. And the dissemination of the idea of themselves is an enormously invasive project. So how do you make a brand idea real? Well, a good place to start is by building a three-dimensional manifestation of your brand. For a company like Disney, it goes even further, where it's actually building a town, Celebration, Florida.
Currently, there are about 5,000 residents who call Celebration home, and there are about 1,300 single-family homes. A town center that's a place where people gather that has about 4 or 5 restaurants and about a dozen
4 or
other
5
shops.
restaurants and 5,000 people there?
Their inspiration, their brand image is the
Like a
all-American
Yeah.
family and the bygone American town.
Wow. Wow. Fucking joke. That's when I know they're playing. You're like a motherfucker. I don't know how I know, but I do. Something triggers in me, man. Something just triggers in me when I see shit like this. Something triggers me. It's just, something triggers in me, and I'm automatically like, that is bullshit. There's nowhere like that.
That company does is in and around those 2 words. If you take that,
I know there's a lot of American kids out there that
environments such as
they
a
can't
Disney
grasp the
World
reality
or
that there's some
Disneyland,
neighborhoods in this country
is
you can't
a
drive down
logical
even as a police
extension of
officer.
that brand. Film, animated film, family-oriented film is a very logical extension of that. As a business, though, they also know that if they want to get into other forms of entertainment that does not fit family magic, they do not brand it Disney. They want to get into adult, more serious type fare. When it comes to film, they brand it Touchstone.
The Disney brand speaks of reassurance.
I already knew shit like
Speaks
that.
of tradition,
I know
it
what
speaks of
Touchstone is.
quality. And you can see that here in this community
How much
that
she
we've
get paid?
built.
Bottom feeder
And
too.
that's where you see the truly imperialist aspirations of branding, which is about building these privatized branded cocoons, which maybe you start by shopping in and then you continue by holidaying in, but eventually, why not just move in?
What happens if we wake up one day and we find out that virtually all of our relationships that are mediated between us and our fellow human beings are commercial? We find out that virtually every relationship we have is a commercially arbitrated relationship with our fellow human beings. Can civilization survive on that narrower definition of how we interact with each other?
Wow. What a dream.
Fucking nightmare. Triumph of the Shield.
I could give you a day in the life of a person who might be the target of undercover marketing, and I will tell you that some of these things are happening right now around you. So you walk out of your building in the morning, some city, and you walk by the door and you say, hey, good morning, and you notice there's a bunch of boxes at his feet from some online or mail order retailer, and there's a bunch of boxes there with, of course, a big brand message on it. You walk out, a lot of people must be ordering from that company. Well, what you don't know is that we paid the doorman to keep those empty boxes there. You walk out into the street, and you hear some people having kind of a loud conversation about a musical act. And they're kind of passing the headphones back and forth and go, wow, this is great. Hey, do you know that I heard the CD is really hard to find, but I heard they sell it at Store X.
That's great, isn't it?
Well, you hear that, you register, and you might kind of pick up on that, and maybe later on you'll think, hey, I wonder what the hot act is bang. That might be in your head. Now you get into your office, and there's a certain brand of water in the refrigerator. What is that? You take it out, you drink it, you slug it down, it's there, and not really thinking about it. Wow, that's pretty good water. Who knows? Maybe someone plays the water there. You kind of go out for your lunch break, you're sitting in the park, and people are kind of out there talking in the park, and bang, all of a sudden you see another message.
Yep.
By the time you go to bed, you've probably received 8 or 9 different undercover messages. People are always thinking, well, oh, I know product placement. That's when they put stuff in movies. Well, yes, kind of. I mean, it's definitely traditional product placement, but real life product placement is just that, placing stuff in movies, but the movie is actually real life. We'll take a group of attainable, but still aspirational people. They're not supermodels. They're kind of people just like you. They're doing something for us, whether they're having a certain kind of drink or they're using a certain laundry term, whatever it may be. They are kind of the Roach Motel, if you will. People are gonna come over to them and they're gonna give them this little piece of brand name.
I'm alright with that. I'm alright with that shit.
Soundbite of knowledge
But
or a
fucking
ritual.
putting all these chemicals in it
Consumers
to
will
kill
get
us,
that
shit.
piece of roach bait and then they
Make us
take it, they
do
go,
research
pretty
and
cool. And then they
put
go out and they spread
shit
it
in
to
it,
their friends.
like sugar,
If you
which
want
is
to be
harmful,
critical,
which
if you want to go
causes
through your
all
life
kinds
like
of liver,
that, sure,
liver
be
disease, causes
critical
all
of every
kinds of
single
shit.
person that walks up to you. But if they're showing you something that fits and something that works and something that makes your life better in some way, well then, who cares? We, again,
In
just
some
say
way, it's
thanks.
also killing you and shit. Polluting the environment, etc., etc. Motherfucker.
Today, the job of building this nation geographically is completed. There are no new frontiers within our borders. So, to what new horizons can we look now?
Exactly.
Where are tomorrow's opportunities?
Exactly.
What's ahead for you, for your children?
Nothing.
The frontiers of the future are not on any map.
The great industries. It says the great
The
industries.
Jacobardi case is one of the great judicial moments in world history.
Told you, Teddy Roosevelt.
And the public was totally unaware it was actually happening as the process was being engaged. General Electric and Professor Jacobardi went to the patent office with a little microbe that eats up oil spills. They said they had modified this microbe in the laboratory and therefore it was an invention. The patent office, the US government, took a look at this quote invention. They said, no way. The patent statutes don't cover living things. This is not an invention. Turned down. Then General Electric and Dr. Jacobardi appealed to the U.S. Customs Court of Appeal. And to everyone's surprise, by a 3-2 decision, they overrode the patent office.
And that's where we start getting
They said this microbe looks more like a detergent or a reagent than a horse or a honeybee. I laughed because they didn't understand basic biology. It looked like a chemical to them. Had it had an antenna or eyes or wings or legs, it would never have crossed their table and been patented. Then the patent office appealed. And what the public should realize now is the patent office was very clear that you can't patent life.
The public don't give a
My
shit.
organization provided the main amicus curiae brief. If you allow the patent on this microbe, we argue, it means that without any congressional guidance or public discussion, corporations will own the blueprints of life.
Wow.
When they made the decision, we lost by 5-4, and Chief Justice Warren Berger said, sure, some of these are big issues, but we think this is a small decision. 7 years later, the U.S. Patent Office issued a one-sentence decree. You can patent anything in the world that's alive, except a full-birth human being.
Wow. Wow.
The Supreme Court of the United States ruled today that living organisms produced in the laboratory may be patented. This decision to extend
Wow.
the U.S. Supreme Court.
Wow, you guys wonder why there's a pandemic right now.
One company.
You wonder why there's a pandemic right now. There you go, people, right fucking there in front of my eyes.
To exclusively own a species. What does that say about our reverence for life?
Researchers at Harvard manipulated the genes of mice, making their offspring more susceptible to cancer.
There you go.
Patented the Harvard mouse in the U.S., Europe, and Japan. They tried to do the same here.
Finally came to an end today. The Supreme Court of Canada ruled a genetically engineered mouse can't be patented.
Canadians don't think that life forms are inventions of industry, like light bulbs and widgets.
Scientists and drug companies search the planet for genes. Companies scouring the planet looking for valuable DNA.
Oh, look at my breakfast. Making it sausage, eggs, hash browns, and toast. Probably all killing me with chemicals inside of it.
So much interest from gene prospectors.
My genetic blueprint really has been taken away from me.
Instead of being the impartial pursuit of the truth, has become the pursuit of profit.
We've all been hearing about the announcement that we have mapped the human genome, but what the public doesn't know is now there's a great race by genomic companies and biotech companies and life science companies to find the treasure in the map. The treasure are the individual genes that make up the blueprint of the human race. Every time they capture a gene and isolate it, these biotech companies claim it as intellectual property. The breast cancer gene, the cystic fibrosis gene, it goes on and on and on. If this goes unchallenged in the world community, within less than 10 years, a handful of global companies will own directly or through license the actual genes that make up the evolution of our species. And they're now beginning to patent the genomes of every other creature on this planet. In the age of biology, the politics is going to sort out between those who believe life first has intrinsic value, and therefore we should choose technologies and commercial menus that honor the intrinsic value. And then we're going to have people who believe, look, life is simple utility. It's commercial fair, and they will line up with the idea to let the marketplace be the ultimate arbiter of all of the age of biology.
Messed up. That's why these creatures keep rushing up on shore.
Information is filtered by global
They're trying to patent everything else too.
Keenly attuned to their powerful advertisers. Who will defend the public's right to know? And what price must be paid to preserve our ability to make informed choices?
Our ability to make informed choices.
What Fox Television told us was that we were just the people to be the investigators.
Do any stories you want, ask tough questions, and get answers. So I thought, this is great. This is a dream job. Fantastic. The very first thing they had us do was not to research stories, but to shoot this promo, which was The Investigators.
Uncovering the truth, getting results, protecting you.
And they had a film crew and a smoke machine, and we were silhouetted.
Investigative reporters.
One of the first stories that Jane came up with was the revelation that most of the milk in the state of Florida and throughout much of the country was adulterated with the effects of bovine growth hormone.
Wow. See?
With Monsanto, I didn't realize
That's
how
like
effectively
telling
a
people not to
corporation
drink
could work to
milk,
get something
not
on the marketplace. The levels of coordination they had to have. They had to get university professors into the fold. They had to get experts into the fold.
Pay.
They had to get reporters into the fold.
Everybody got
They
a price.
had to get the public into the fold. And of course the FDA, let's not leave them out. They had to get the federal regulators convinced that this was a fine and safe product to get it onto the marketplace. And they did that. They did that very, very well.
Ozelac is the single most tested new product in history, and is now available to you specifically so you can increase your profit potential.
The federal government basically rubber stamped it before they put it on the marketplace.
We gave them the money.
They did for human toxicity
funding
was 90
for the
days on
commercials,
30 rats.
for
And
the
then
positive
either
propaganda.
Monsanto misreported the results to the FDA, or the FDA didn't bother to look in depth at Monsanto's own studies.
The scientists within Health Canada looked very carefully at bovine growth hormone and came to very different conclusions than the Food and Drug Administration in the U.S. did.
FDA's job's pretty serious too. I wouldn't take that fucking job lightly.
Safety requirements. It could be absorbed by the body and therefore did have implications for human health. Mysteriously, that conclusion was deleted from the final published version of their report.
I personally was very concerned that there's a very serious problem of secrecy, conspiracy, and things of that nature. We have been pressured and coerced to pass drugs of questionable safety, including the RBST.
We wrote the story. We had it ready a week beforehand. They bought ads.
Farmers in the milk industry say it's safe, but studies suggest a link to cancer. Don't miss this special report from the
That Friday night before the Monday this series was to begin, the fax machine spit out a letter from this very high-priced lawyer in New York that Monsanto had hired. It contained a lot of things that were just off the wall false, just demonstrably false. But if you didn't know the story and you didn't know how he had gone about producing it, would have scared you as a broadcaster,
That's just
as
stupid.
a manager.
Just let it scare you.
And they decided that they would pull the story and they would just check it one more time.
Stupid.
But the bottom line was that there was no factual errors in that story.
So
both sides had been heard from.
second
Both
guessing
sides had
themselves.
an
They
opportunity
went ahead
to
and was
speak.
safe and sorry.
1 week later, Monsanto sent the second letter, and this was even more strongly worded. And it said there will be dire consequences for Fox News if the story airs in Florida.
Fox News should have had some balls.
And this time they freaked. They were afraid of being sued, and they were also afraid of losing advertising dollars.
If they would have come out
And all of
with
the
it before
stations owned
fucking
by
Roundup,
Murdoch,
or before
and
Monsanto,
he owned more television stations than any other group.
look how hard it was just to get a few people to fucking able to have a lawsuit against Monsanto for
Roundup,
Roundup.
Aspartame, NutraSweet, and
Aspartame,
other products.
NutraSweet.
So we got into a battle, and the first deal was the new general manager.
And his name's Dave. And Dave is a salesman, and, you know, you pump your hand. How you doing? How you doing?
Called us upstairs to his office, and he said,
Pay attention.
"What would you say if I killed this piece?" What if it never ran? And we said, well, we wouldn't be very happy about that. And he said, well, I could kill it, And we said, yes, of course, you're the manager. You could kill it. It would never air. And he's hemming and he's hawing and he's back and he's forth. And we couldn't figure out, what is this all about? And finally he blurted out, look, would you tell anybody? I said, I'm not going to lie for you. About a week later, calls us back to the office and says, okay, we'd like you to make these changes. In fact, you will make these changes. We said, well, look, let us show you the research that we have that shows that this information you want us to broadcast is true. To which he replies, I don't care about that.
See?
I said, pardon me? And he said, well, that's what I have lawyers for. Just write it the way the lawyers want it written. I said, this is news. This is important. This is stuff people need to know. And I'll never forget, he didn't pause a beat.
He didn't say that, no.
We just paid $3 billion for these television stations.
Told you.
We'll tell you what the news is. The news is what we say it is. I said, I'm not doing that. And he said, if you refuse to present the story the way we think it should be presented, you'll be fired for insubordination. I said, I will go to the Federal Communications Commission and I will report that I was fired from my job by you, the licensee of these public airwaves, because I refused to lie.
Public airwaves. License.
And it's thank you very much.
Public license.
You'll hear from us right away. Well, 24 hours came and went and we didn't hear a thing. And about a week later, he calls us back, and now we've changed strategies. How about if we pay you some money and you just go away?
So he took it.
And I said, how much money? Because, when somebody offers to bribe you like that, I always want to know if it might be worth it.
I might say that
too. He was going to offer us the rest of our year's salary.
That's it.
If we agreed not to talk about what Monsanto had done, to not talk about the Fox corporate response in suppressing the story, and to not talk about the story. Not talk about BGH again, anywhere.
That's fucked
not
up,
take the story to another news organization.
They should have been going to fucking the law.
I said, you mean if I want to go to my daughter's PTA meetings and explain what's in the school milk at the school lunch program? I can't. No. You can never speak about this anywhere.
And Steve says, okay, write it up. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Write it up. And I didn't say anything. And Dave, he wrote it up. And he FedExed it to us a couple days later. And he said, are you going to sign? And we said, nah, Dave, we're not going to sign that. And he said, well, send it back, okay? I said, no, Dave, we're not going to send that back.
It was, okay, we can't buy you out. We can't shut you up. Let's get the story on the air in a way that we can all agree it will go on the air. And we started rewriting and editing with their lawyers.
Well, during this 8-month re-review process, I say, joking. Potential problem is, I just say human health implications.
Man, guys, I can't watch this
Any
forever.
criticism of Monsanto or its product, they either removed it or minimized it. And it was very, very clear, I would say, almost every edit they made to the piece, that was the aim.
And we changed this and this and this, and then that wasn't good enough. Okay, now change this and this and this. Now change this and this. Version after version after version.
Until it's all
83 times.
Damn,
83 times is unheard of. It doesn't happen. You shouldn't have to rewrite something 83 times. Obviously, they didn't want to put the thing on the air, and they were trying to drive us crazy and get us to quit, or wait until the first window in our contract so that they could fire us.
They, in effect, announced that they were going to fire us for no cause. Well, this was a little much.
And Steve wrote a letter to the lawyer in Atlanta, whose name is Carolyn Forrest, the Fox corporate lawyer.
And I said,
is it enough yet, guys?
Being fired for no cause.
Do we need any more proof?
Firing us because we refused
just sit back and do shit.
Not
anyway.
Something that we knew and demonstrated to be false and misleading.
I'm gonna have a record of it. I'm gonna call y'all out every day. At least one fucking time a day.
And we stood up to your editors and we stood up to your
at least
lawyers,
one.
And we
but it gets under my fucking skin if that's stupid.
Higher than just making money.
And she wrote a letter back and said, you are right. That's exactly what it was. You stood up to us on this story, and that's why we're letting you go. Big mistake. Big mistake.
How?
That says retaliation. You can't retaliate against employees if they're standing up for something that they believe is illegal, that they don't want to participate in. So that gave us the whistleblower status that we needed in the state of Florida.
And everybody gets money for that. Well, now.
Our employer.
2 or 3 years later, we got to trial. 5 weeks of testimony led to a jury verdict of $425,000, in which the jury determined that the story they pressured us to broadcast, the story we resisted telling, was in fact false, distorted, or slanted.
Got it. They got the jury. Got the jury.
5 major news media corporations filed briefs with the court in support of Fox's appeal.
3 more years. They stalled them out in court.
Former reporter here sued Fox 13 in a whistleblower lawsuit, claiming she was fired for refusing to distort her report. The appeals court today threw that case out, saying Ms. Acri had no whistleblower claim against the station based on news distortion. Fox 13 Vice President and General Manager Bob Linger says the station has been completely vindicated by the ruling.
That's one judge that was bought.
What Fox neglected to report is this. Jane sued Fox under Florida's whistleblower statute, which protects those who try to prevent others from breaking the law. But her appeal court judges found that falsifying news isn't actually against the law. So they denied Jane her whistleblower status, overturned the case, and withdrew her $425,000 award.
From the bottom all the way to the top, judges and
Canada
everything.
and Europe have upheld the ban on RBGH.
Just Canada
Yet it
and Europe.
remains hidden in much of the milk supply of the United States. The prospect that 2/3 of the world's population will have no access to fresh drinking water by 2025 has provoked the initial confrontations in a worldwide battle for control over the planet's most basic resource.
Air.
When Bolivia sought to refinance the public water service of its 3rd largest city, the World Bank required that it be privatized.
You hear that shit? The
Which
World
is how
Bank.
the Bechtel Corporation of San Francisco gained control over all of Cochabamba's water. Even that, which fell from the sky.
Wow.
Esta ley, este contrato prohibían a la gente acumular el agua de la lluvia.
That's what they did in America too.
El agua de la lluvia también se privatizaba. La factura de agua le daba un valor legal a la empresa para que pueda apropiarse de su propiedad, de su vivienda.
Unpaid bills gave the right to repossess homes.
Optar por una decisión de comer menos,
From eating less
pagar del agua,
to
pagar
paying
por servicios
water and
básicos,
basic
dejar
services.
de mandar a los niños a la
Not
escuela,
sending children to school
no
or
aceptar
going
los
to the
hospitales,
hospital.
curarse en la propia
And treating
casa,
illnesses at home.
o en todo
Or in the
caso,
case of retired people
jubilada, por ejemplo, que tiene una renta muy
who have very
baja,
low incomes,
debería buscar trabajo
go out and work on the streets. Just like we have them in here in America. After you retire, if you can get to the retirement age, you have to go fucking get another job.
con la consigna de el agua es nuestra, carajo. La gente
And we're the
sale a
only
las
country that
calles,
hadn't
sale a
fucking
los
protested and
caminos
fought against it.
y
Ran down like little bitches. We're gonna be like these motherfuckers, but worse. Because we're letting them keep getting more and more away with
The
it.
country paid for World Bank loans was the privatization of the state oil industry and its airline, railroad, electric, and phone companies. But the government failed to convince Bolivians that water is a commodity like any other.
Wow, commodity? Really? Like I've always said, man, I don't give a fuck who you are. There ain't nobody out there that deserves a better or a bigger or cleaner fucking cup of water than anybody else.
el gobierno defendía los
The
intereses
government
de la
defended the
población
transitional interest of the Bechtel or whatever.
La gente quería
People wanted water, not tear
no
gas.
gases. La gente quería
People wanted justice, not
justicia y
bullets.
no balas.
And they got bullets instead of justice. Why? Because the cops, the police was just doing their job. Fuck that. Don't fucking be a fucking robot. How could you do that to your own people, man?
Bolivia was determined to defend the corporation's right to charge families living on $2 a day, as much as 1/4 of their income for water. The greater the popular resistance to the water privatization scheme, the more violent became the standoff.
So they're killing us because we want water. It's killing them because they want water.
Jóvenes que a sus 16, 17 años
16 or
perdieron
17 years
brazos,
old,
perdieron
lost their arms or
piernas,
legs,
quedaron
or were
paralíticos,
left
quedaron
handicapped
lesionados de la
for
cabeza
life
por
with
vida,
brain injuries.
y murió
And Victor Hugo Dazaz was killed. They sniped him. That kid. Guys, they're doing this all over. Hair everywhere. We're getting raped like a motherfucker. Now they're about to take all your homes because of debt.
Transnational corporations have a long and dark history of condoning tyrannical governments. Is it narcissism that compels them to seek their reflection in the regimental structures of fascist regimes?
For your own self, your own families. Wake the fuck up.